I'm sick of this. I'm fucking sick of this. So Ubisoft gave a response to the entire internet hashtagging hold Ubisoft accountable, which, by the way, thank you guys so fucking much for supporting what everyone was trying to do. I didn't invent the hashtag. I didn't create this thing. I just saw people using it, decided to boost it, and holy shit, it took off, didn't it? It went far beyond my reach, far beyond the original reach, and I just want to thank everyone that took part, everyone that did it. And it's not over. Continue doing it. Continue using the hashtag. Continue holding Ubisoft accountable until we see proper change. So that's what happened this past week. If you don't know, then this is new information to you. Go and check out my Ubisoft Problem video. It goes over more than just this issue, so you can skip using the timestamps if you just want to know about the sexual misconduct issues, because I covered that at the start, and there's also a segment within the video as well. So there are timestamps as well. But I'll link that video down below if you want that, as well as other useful links that will inform you on the situation. Now, Ubisoft put out a response because everyone's been doing this. We've got a lot of big names involved, a lot of big media news outlets in the gaming industry. Ubisoft, of course, felt compelled to put out a response. Now, the issue with this response is it is fucking appalling, genuinely very bad. And a lot of people, might think it wasn't even that bad. It was, it was pretty good. They addressed the issues. They didn't, though. Actually, and that's the issue we're going to go over today. I'm going to explain exactly why it's a terrible response. It's a great response from a business standpoint, don't get me wrong. If I were Yves Guillemot, I'd be like, yeah, we fucking nailed it, boys. But from the point of view of someone that wants change, from the point of view of a victim, from the point of view of someone looking in from the outside, it just reeks of corporate bollocks. It's awful. I'll link the full article in the description if you want to go and read it yourself, but we're going to go over it now. I'm going to pick this thing apart. They start this off by saying that last June, we faced the fact that not all team members were experiencing the safe and inclusive workspace that we'd always intended at Ubisoft. Since then, we've engaged in a company-wide effort to listen, learn, and build a roadmap for a better Ubisoft for all. With this in mind, I want to summarize the work we have done and the direction we are headed. I mean, for a start, that's just fluff. That's just useless fluff. Again, padding it out, making it look like there's more words on the fucking screen. That really is all it is. That's all that sentence does. It's useless to me. That's absolutely useless to me, because hey, that's the same thing you said last year. The next paragraph and the next little bit is maybe the only section I would say is good, but I'm going to explain why it's not really indicative of any sort of change. They continue to say that following the misconduct, they've set up several channels via which team members can report inappropriate behavior, including a platform that guarantees anonymity. All reports are received and treated by an independent external partner to guarantee impartiality. The initial reports led us to launch a series of investigations, and based on their outcomes, we took appropriate actions, blah, blah, blah. They dismissals, disciplinary actions. It's the same stuff we already knew about. We literally already knew about these things. We talked about it on the podcast before any of this. It's things we've already seen. Now, the idea of reporting to a third party is, on paper, yes, it sounds good, right? It means they don't have to go through Ubisoft. It means they can, if something happens to them, they can report it to a third party and it can be investigated and dealt with. However, oh blimey, Ubisoft have built up a systemic sexual abuse problem within their company. The issue here is that the people at the top, the people who allowed this, the people that protected the people that were committing these acts and maybe doing some themselves, Sergei Haskart, aren't held accountable. The issue here is when you're able to report to a third party, the reason you're doing that is because internally you can't fucking trust anyone. And that doesn't sound like it's fixed the issue or changed the issue at all. It tells me that Yves Guillemot and his people that are around him at the top wouldn't be dealing with this or wouldn't want to deal with this. So you'd have to go through a third party. Now think how that feels when you're a victim, when you can't go to your boss, you can't go to the upper management because you feel that they won't do anything. They've said, no, go through this. You got to go through this external thing, something that could very easily be swept under the rug and ignored. And then your job is at risk. You feel scared to speak out. That's what victims feel like. When you're a victim of this sort of thing, you don't feel confident that you can just send an email to an external fucking service and get help and have it all resolved. It doesn't work like that. But on top of that, it doesn't even say what the service does. It doesn't even say what the purpose of it is. Does that end in disciplinary actions? Does it end up in external or internal investigations? Who gets told about this? How do those people from the external place end up investigating you? But what are the logistics here? How does this work? It doesn't tell us any of that. It just says they've set up several channels, vague as fuck, via which team members can report inappropriate behavior, including a platform that guarantees anonymity. And that's it. There's no actual explanation for anything they're talking about. They then go on to talk about the change in their code of conduct. They've now strengthened their non-discrimination and anti-harassment policies, whatever the fuck that means. I'm assuming that their previous code of conduct didn't say sexual abuse was okay, so I'm not really sure what the relevance is other than to pad out this article with things that sound good on a surface level. This wasn't an issue of not teaching people right from wrong. This was an issue of systemic abuse within your company. You can't just change your code of conduct, change the way that you deal with non-discrimination and anti-harassment policies, and then say, we fixed the issue, guys. Because guess what? I don't think those policies or your code of conduct caused the issue in the first place. I think it was the lack of accountability, the lack of needing to take responsibility, and the higher-ups protecting these people. It's the systemic abuse within your company. And that can't be helped through changing your code of conduct, unless, of course, your code of conduct said on the code of conduct, please continue to sexually abuse and harass our female employees. And that would only really be relevant if all of the employees within Ubisoft were raised within Ubisoft for the entirety of their lives, learning that backwards code of conduct. If those things weren't the case before, this change makes absolutely no sense. I refuse to believe that these people came into the company thinking sexual abuse and harassment was okay, read the code of conduct that must have encouraged it, and then did it within the company. And that was the issue. Ubisoft didn't educate these people that raised back. Now, they go on to show a bunch of new recruited leaders and people at the executive level, a bunch of women they've put in higher positions, which is good. That's a good thing. The issue I find here is that with these new people coming in and being promoted and being put in higher positions, the people in power are still the people in power. They've not been removed. Yves Guillemot is still at the top. So, irrelevant of this, the women that are in these positions have no more say and no more power than anyone would have done before. The same men that enabled this shit to happen in the first place are still there. They're still in their same fucking positions. This doesn't really change anything because all of these women that might really do great jobs and want the right thing still report to these same men that allowed this shit to happen in the first place. So really it changes nothing but shows an outwardly positive face of the company. They've also failed to address any of the things that were reported in the new allegations. The reports that said that people within the company have just been moved around. We deserve to know and we need to know what that's about. Why has that happened, Ubisoft? Take some fucking responsibility. And on top of that, the report that said that Ubisoft doesn't really want to do anything about this. They don't really want to speak up publicly. They don't really want to make huge changes because it could lose them money. Where's that Ubisoft in this? That's important information that I feel should be addressed. Why is that not in here? Oh, yeah, it's because you want to hide all of that. Yeah, no. A lot of this article says we've strengthened this, we've implemented that, without actually giving us any sort of specifics. They just tell us, we've implemented this service, we've changed this code of conduct, we've decided to change the way that our company operates. Like, okay, yeah, but how? How have you done that? What have you done? How has the company changed? Those are the important details we need, not you just telling us, yeah, we changed some stuff. Yeah, okay, what stuff? What stuff did you change? How did you change it? How does that help your company? Give us the fucking facts. Or is it because you've not done anything? Is that the reason? Is it because you've not fucking done anything? It also closes by saying, and I wanted to throw up reading this, management, myself included, have a responsibility to act as role models and be exemplary for our teams. I want to stress my personal commitment to continue to improve our workplace culture and create real, lasting, and positive change at Ubisoft. Thank you all for your support as we continue to learn and grow. Yves Guillemot, CEO of Ubisoft. Oh, go fuck yourself, man. You've not taken responsibility at all. You're not taken a single ounce of responsibility. You have thrown this onto absolutely everybody else. The people that run your social media channels have to deal with the onslaught of shit being thrown at them because you won't take fucking responsibility. The women that are still feeling unsafe in their work environment, you're to blame for that because you don't take any responsibility. Stand up, be a fucking man, and say what actually fucking happened. This is a bullshit article full of absolute corporate fluff to make it seem like they're doing something. You are the CEO of this company, and when this shit is happening all across, it wasn't just Montreal, it wasn't just Canada, it was across the fucking world, when there are 14,000 of your employees that believe they have seen or experienced workplace misconduct. That is not, oh, we have a responsibility to be exemplary. Oh no, I didn't know this was happening. What a fucking mess that has happened here. I will do my best to change it. No, man. It's your fucking fault. Taking responsibility for that as the CEO of your company would be to say, this was my fucking fault and I need to go. That's taking responsibility. This is covering it up so you can keep your fucking job and keep making money. That's what this fucking is. And don't get me wrong, it's naive to assume that Eve, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation, would stand up and say, this was all my fault, see you later, because that's obviously not going to happen. But I will continue to push for it because it's what I believe is right. It's not the only change, don't get me wrong. Removing Eve doesn't immediately correct the company's wrongs, but what it does is take out the man at the top. The man that allowed these things to happen. And he can't be replaced by his brother or his cousin or his fucking dog. He needs to be replaced by somebody else outside of Ubisoft that actually wants to make change. Someone we can trust and believe in. Someone that wants to be very much a force for change. And in doing so, allow someone from the very top of the company to make all of the necessary changes that trickle down to the very bottom of Ubisoft. The only way we're ever going to get change is if the person at the very, very top genuinely fucking wants it. And I tell you what, Eve doesn't give a shit either way. He's been complacent for over a decade. He's complacent now. And he just wants this to be brushed under the rug so he can keep making as much money as possible, regardless of the victims that get hurt along the way. I'm not going to stop holding Ubisoft accountable. I'm going to continue to do it. This response is absolutely nothing. We're in exactly the same position we were before it came out. And I expect and demand that Ubisoft put something else out. Something that is far more transparent. Something that actually shows they're taking accountability. I appreciate everyone that's still with me. I hope you will continue to stay with me. All of the big names out there that continue supporting this movement, if that's what you want to call it. Appreciate the fuck out of you too. I am not the face of this. I am not the person who created this. I just want to voice this as much as I can to my audience to keep shit rolling, to keep the pressure up. It's all we can do, and I urge all of you to continue holding Ubisoft accountable. Use the hashtag on Twitter. We got it trending the other day. If we keep going, if we keep pushing, if we don't stop, we probably can do something about this. Fucking thank you, everybody, and I'll continue putting pressure on where I can. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye-bye.